I just found out that Susan Wojcicki, the former CEO of YouTube and subject of one of our group sigils, had passed away back in August. I can't believe I didn't hear about that till I saw a thumbnail of another video with her picture saying she's dead. Apparently, according to that video, she had developed some sort of turbo cancer, as they called it, after receiving the jab that she had so heavily defended on this platform, which is, ironic, and apparently why she stepped down as CEO, which then begs the question, did our group sigil inadvertently add to the kill count of this channel? Which I really don't have an answer for. Stuff like that is always a maybe. I had thought that it was a win-win. She wanted to spend more time with her family. Well, it turns out that, she was ill. Nevertheless, it's never the intention of our magic to harm anyone. And I'd like to believe that our magic had nothing to do with it. But because of the nature of magic, it's always a maybe because you just never can tell. So RIP to Susan Wojcicki. I may not have agreed with your policies, but I am truly saddened to hear of your passing. We never celebrate the death of others or speak ill of the dead, no matter how atrocious they may have been. Just look how many people are celebrating the CEO of United Healthcare, who was gunned down in the street in New York. Understand that when you do that, that is some very bad karma. It's bad enough if you're doing baneful things to living people. But if someone passes and you're celebrating it, that's pretty close to actually being responsible for it yourself. At least according to Scripture. That if you hate someone to the point where you're celebrating their death, it says that you have committed murder in your own heart. But all that aside, it's just terrible karma. Now, again, most people think of karma as some sort of punishment and reward system. Like if you have bad karma, you get punished, and if you have good karma, you get rewarded. And it certainly can appear that way. But that's not what it is, or at least not intended for. Karma is simply energy returning to source. It is that which you have put out there that is returning back to you. So when you do things such as celebrate somebody's passing, what do you think is going to return to you? Take the United Healthcare CEO, for example. A lot of people believe that he's responsible for the deaths of many other people. And being the head of a large medical group, that very well may be the case. But he still had family, he still had children, he still had people who loved him and missed him and will grieve for him. Does your hate extend to them as well? And it's not about being a bad, evil person for doing so, although your character could be called into question for doing so. But that's not what it's about. It's about that you're inviting that kind of thing into your life. And not necessarily you, but friends, family, loved ones. Trust me when I say you don't want that coming anywhere near you. Ask me how I know. Back in the day, I had quite a few enemies. The irony of Frater Xavier, an accomplished magician, is that I could never have what I really want. Because what I really want are my best friends and loved ones back. I mean, all my best friends are dead. And I'm not saying that I'm the direct cause of that, because I'm not. But perhaps I opened myself up to that in my life. And I'm telling you, you don't want to give it a reason to come your way by even sending it out there in the first place. Now, the other thing about karma is, in astrology, it's ruled by the planet Saturn. And as Saturn progresses through your chart, it's going to bring with it the karma. We've talked about Saturn returns before and how difficult they can be. Well, a lot of that Saturn return is karma returning to you. Not all of it, because Saturn does, in of itself, correspond with obstacles and restrictions and limitations. But some of it is. Some of it's been karma that's been building up for a long time. And see, that's the other thing about karma is that, you do one thing and you're going to get the karma back for it, but not necessarily on its own. The karma could build up for a while. And this is why during Saturn returns, it could feel like you're getting dumped on all at once. Because it is. It's dumping all the karma that's built up on you all at once. How long does it take Saturn to traverse your chart? Isn't it like 29 years? Now, you're not going to get the full 29 years all at once, because it doesn't just dump karma off on you on your Saturn return. It could do so on any axis in your chart, any aspects to other planets as it's progressing through your chart, and any squares or oppositions to itself in your chart. But you could possibly have 7 years worth, potentially. It's probably not going to be the case, but potentially. That's a lot of karma all at once. And what makes the Saturn return all the more difficult to endure. So the key to having better Saturn returns is to have better karma, to be mindful of what it is that you're putting out there. Everything returns to source. It's one of the laws of magic. When you realize and treat everything as a circuit, you'll understand that when you're putting bad energy out there, it's because you're running on bad energy. And then that energy that you put out there is going to return to you so that you're still running on bad energy. Only you can make that switch to put out good energy so that then you could run on good energy. Instead of celebrating the passing of the CEO of United Healthcare, perhaps you could be more respectful to both him and his family. It's even preferable to be indifferent than it is to celebrate that, karma-wise. Or perhaps you take the stance that if it doesn't concern you, then perhaps you shouldn't concern yourself with it. Because the reason people are celebrating it isn't going to change. They're going to have another CEO who does the exact same things. Probably. No one can say for certain, but it's likely. They are still a corporation driven by profit. But, that's my little talk on karma when it comes to these things. I am truly sorry for what happened to Susan Wojcicki. I hadn't heard anything about it up until now, which is sort of amazing because I think I would have heard something, but I just didn't. I guess I had quite a bit going on in August. Now, whether or not it's true that it was because of the jab, I wouldn't know anything about that. That's just what they were saying in the video. But, it seems like these boosters are just boosting people right into heaven. I mean, there seems to be a correlation. I myself never took it. I'm still a pure blood. Neither did my girlfriend. I remember people were saying that, oh, you're just a sheep because you wear the mask. Well, no, I was wearing a mask because I have COPD from smoking like an idiot for 30 years. And I didn't wear a regular mask. I wore an RZ mask, which has a much better filter than just an N95. I spent 11 days in the hospital in the COVID ward when I got cellulitis, wore that mask the entire time, and never caught COVID. Even with nurses coming in and out that's been going in other rooms with COVID. But I never did take the shot because I didn't trust it. I mean, isn't that what it comes down to in the end, is a matter of trust? The moment they said they're going to mandate that everybody take it, yet at the same time they're immune from all liability, I was out. It didn't pass the smell test at that point. But I digress. I'm just saying why I didn't take it personally. And, it's a real shame what has been happening to people who were more trusting, at least from the perspective of coincidence. But that's all the time we have for today. Bit of a grim topic this time, but, it needed to be said so that you're not caught up in the fervor when things like this happen. And why not to do it? All right, so that's why. Check out mindandmagic.com for the programs mentioned in this video and more. Social media links will be on the screen momentarily, and I will see you next time. Take care.